I am live. I know people have been going nuts about me not wearing tropical shirts, and I have a legitimate reason. It's cold. It's really cold, and I've only got two long-sleeved tropical shirts, and I can tell you now, they're not thick enough. So I'm not wearing them right now, but they will be back just as soon as we get a little bit into double digits on the temperatures. Okay, anyway, I get asked this question a lot. How do I sell to people who don't know they need me? How do I get leads or close a deal when the people don't feel like they need to do it? There's not a lack of urgency, or there's no, pressing pain to change. And it's a really good question, because I sell, just being straight up, I sell something that people need, but they've got options. They don't have to use LinkedIn. They could go to TikTok. They don't have to use LinkedIn and social selling. They could go to an email outreach. So when you're trying to sell to somebody where they don't need you, or they don't feel that it's pressing, there's no pressure for them to change immediately, you have to change tactics, because you are asking them to change. And if it doesn't feel like it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is a go-to thing that human beings do. So if you're sat here going, I know they could be better, but there's not enough oomph or momentum to get them to take a leap because it's not quite painful enough, you've only got a couple of options really. And you can't sell it like, you can't put false urgency into something. You have to really think about, first off, defining what good looks like. Defining what good looks like. So in other words, if you're going to work with somebody, what does that better really look like, right? If somebody's not got extreme amounts of pain, and it's just, how do I get better? We could be doing this better. You have to really think about, what specifically does that good look like, that better look like? If you describe it in generic kind of terms that they can't really understand and grab hold of, they're not going to move forward. So that's number one. You need to get really good at defining okay, you've been using our service, you bought something. How is life, business, career better? That's number one. Number two, you have to expose the problems that exist right now that they don't see. Now, you can't do this in isolation. If you just go, yeah, but this is there, yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, people will just dismiss it if you just describe these things. So you have to use a very vivid explanation of what good could look like, and then also expose some of the problems that they don't see as important. And that tension between those two places, seeing the problems that currently aren't important, but also then seeing the lost opportunity of what it could be, those two things together really make a difference. So how do you expose problems? How do you expose problems that currently they're living with? You have to compare it against what they could be. So if, say, somebody's spending 4 or 5 hours writing a report, show them what some of their industry, some of their competitors are actually doing it in an hour. It's the keeping up with the Joneses factor, if you get that statement. Keeping up with the Joneses factor. Looking at where they'd really like to be, but there's no impetus to get there, and showing them other people like them have got there, and comparing the difference between where other people have got like them and where they are. And then those problems become real. Fundamentally, for many businesses, what they're trying to do is, if we get rid of all the techno babble, all of the industry lingo, all of that stuff, we boil it down to, you and I are asking people to make change, to change from their current place to somewhere else. People do not like to change. And if there's no pressure to change, you have to show them what they're missing out on. And that magnifies their dissatisfaction with the status quo. In other words, it makes those pains visible and painful. You know, I'll give you an example. I got on both my feet, I got plantar fasciitis. I can never pronounce it. I was moving house, somehow I got it, and my legs were killing, absolutely killing. And I got insoles and all this kind of stuff. And eventually, I got used to it. And so I just moved on and didn't notice the pain, didn't notice anything. And weirdly, it went. But I can't tell you when it went. I can't tell you when it stopped hurting. Because I adapted to the pain. I adapted to the difficulties and it became normalized. And so many of your clients will have pains, they will have problems, but if they've normalized them, pointing them out, they'll go, yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but it's all right. Change. You get used to it. If you I'm naturally more comfortable in warmer climates. So if a room is at 25, 26 degrees, I feel fantastic. If a room's at 14 degrees, I feel cold. You get used to what you're around. And so if your target market are used to problems, number one, you have to really name that future, what that looks like, and the difference between where they are right now and that. Literally going, okay, if it's taking you 4 hours to report, it only takes 15 minutes for them. Think of all that time you've lost when they're doing it for 15 minutes. It's that contrast between where they could be and where they are that makes the pain visible. And this is not easy to do. That's why I spend a lot of my time working with clients on messaging. And if you read my post today, I actually talked about this a little bit more. A lot of people put their faith and confidence in tactics, but actually the power of LinkedIn, social selling, any kind of activity you're doing to get clients is the message you use. And fundamentally, we're all self-interested and we want something better, but we also don't want risk. And so think about that. If your clients don't see that they have a problem, or they have a problem but it doesn't feel urgent, the only way to do it is drill into what are those problems and then show them what the future looks like and compare the two. And that creates the tension. So if that's you, if you struggled with that, this will answer that question. And I'm going to try and keep doing more of these. So every time somebody asks me a question, I'm going to do a live about it, talk about it, because no doubt if one person's asking it, there's probably 10, 15, 20 others. But it's very, very common, by the way, that people have clients where the clients have got used to their pain, used to their problems, or in my case, with my plantar fasciitis, I got used to living with a limp. So that when it went away, I didn't even notice it had gone away, because it just felt normal. So hope that's helpful. If you've got any questions, you've got challenges and you're going, Dean, how would I solve this? Send them in. I will give you my honest take. I won't share your name if you don't want me to, but I'll share how I would approach that problem, how I would solve it, so you get leads.